of aircraft. I think if you direct your attention to the right here now, we have this little short row of aircraft. Now, these aircraft here are to test long-term storage and preservation methods here at the A-Mark facility. Let me get my box up here. All right. Paper on the exhaust sections, and they put the spray lat on. You can see. Every 4 years, the aircraft are brought out of field. This is the flyable hull storage. On this side of Kolb Road, all of these aircraft can fly. And they do fly. They're leased in other countries. All right, if you look off to the right, you'll see across Kolb Road, see those cranes over there if you drive by there. Now, you're going to see a big scrap heap over there, and you notice a lot of them right across on Valencia from our museum. Now, that's what you really call a boneyard. They don't like to have this called a boneyard out here, though we do, and I've done it too. Okay, we're going to talk about this F-14 Tomcat Navy fighter right here. Now, I know y'all going to get asked, they got to clear that tail. Every ejection seat is basically different, but it has a very, very large catapult on the back of the seat that fires. It blows him out of there. It's just like a rocket, and the seat goes up the rails, and he's going up there. Now, the pilot is strapped in or belted, and this is what they use them for. They mount them underneath the wing, and they fly away with them, doing real good with them. Now, right up ahead of us on our left, you'll see in the distance in that clearing, you see these little low-slung items to the ground. They look like a boat out there. For A-10 Thunderbolt II, commonly known as the Warthog. We don't see very many of these things flying around here now because a lot of them just left here and went over to the Iraqi and Afghanistan area, and a lot of the Air Force personnel flew out of here on cargo planes as well in the last few weeks. But you will see them zipping around here because Davis-Monthan Air Force Base is a primary training base to train A-10 crews and pilots. Now, the A-10 doesn't have the spray lat on it, but see this one right here with a 163 painted on the nose? That's the gun that's sticking out. That's the tank killer right there. Now, when you stand in front of the Air Hornet, now you're going to notice the bags on some of the blows. It rubs sharp objects on the airplane. It just wears a hole in the bag. But anyway, the F-A Stallion right here. Now, this was actually part of our presidential fleet at one time in Washington, D.C. This one was called Marine One, and they do have another Marine One there. The Sea Ranger is a utility-type helicopter on the left side, mostly used just for hauling out there, and it flew out of there, and it's out around the Palmdale, Lancaster area doing some research work with it. I don't know. But it's another cargo aircraft that never did get into production. It's gone. One aircraft. On the right, we have the C-27 Spartan. Now, this little aircraft here was built in Italy, and this one flew out of the Southern Command in Latin America out of Howard Air Force Base. Is what they use these for. On the left, we have you're going to notice a lot of F-4s out here. We had thousands and thousands of, would you believe we're down to around 700 out here right now? And the F-4, they built over 5,000 of these fighters, by the way. And they were used from Nam all the way into Desert Storm. They were flown by the Navy, Army, and disregard Army, the Air Force, Navy, and the Marines. And you know they're converting 400 of these right now into aerial target drones that will have a special as a drone. Gone. Too bad. Huh? Oh, F-4? Beautiful plane. Yeah, I like them. I've been around them for about 5 years. All right, we have some little C-12s on the right, the little white ones. They're little dip airplanes. Now, see what I talk about, the Tweety birds right here? They're starting to bring the tweets in now and retire them, really line them up out there. I haven't heard anything about that. Huh? General aviation? I don't. It's hard to get a plane out of here. The only way you can get a plane out of here, and it's very seldom, it has to be stripped, demilitarized, nothing on it. I've heard different stories about that. I don't even know if they're selling them out of here now, though. But it's a shame they're bringing them in. But I think they've seen their life history. A lot of Huey helicopters here, Cobras on the left. The east side. Okay, we're going to make a short little lunch stop here. I hope you all brought enough lunch for all of us in here. Okay. No, we're going to make a stop here so you can get some pictures out here. It's a beautiful clear. The cables run out underground into the cockpit to check the temperatures to make sure the temperatures stay in the right readings, below 200 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a good question. Telling you about. Now, every plane that has to be flown out of here has to be test hopped. That's what I knew. We have 2 more C-141s processing in, and this is called the flush farm. This is where they bring the aircraft. 17 Cargo Master is replacing them. For every new C-17 that goes into service with the Air Force, they pull 2 of these out, by the way. You're going to notice the engines are removed on most of them out here that's been out here for a while because the engines are used on the ones that's still flying, and they're also can be used on the B-52H bomber that's flying as well. Now, the aircraft right off to the right of us here, these right here, is going to various museums and veterans organizations, I am told. Okay, up ahead of us here, lots of air. Okay, now, you wonder how they do this, and they've been doing this for years to the B-52G bombers that's in here being cut up. They take a 13,000-pound guillotine, they hoist it up on this big crane, and they free fall it, and that chops the tail off and the wings. That's how they get it off. I like to see that she breaks down and cries. I'm not kidding, she can't handle it. And I don't blame her. It is sad.
Mooi doekje?
Ja. Tranen met teutje.
Een kikje hier, een kikje daar. Jongen, dan krijg je weer thuis van
Well, anything on this side is nothing. They'll strip these and then they'll scrap them. A lot of these F4s you see out here are going to be trucked out of here and set on the very... All right, here's some more B-1 bombers. This first one right on the left, you see the DY on the tail. They're out of Dyess Air Force Base in Texas. This was the first one to come in a year ago. And they let us in at A-Mart. We came over here and met it, taxiing in, those beautiful engines running. Man, look at it now. We met all 4 crew members that got out of it, right out that little tiny ladder there, and they all signed the nose landing gear door. They wrote their name on it with a big ink type deal and put it down. Here's some F-18 Hornets right here. This is the only road. Well, they've already cleared this area off up here with all the 141s in here. They chopped them up. Man, they're gone. You cannot believe it. Now they got a bunch more sitting here ready to chop up as well. And they take these out and melt them into huge ingots, all the aluminum. McCord Air Force. You know why? I guess why I like a 141. When I came back to Vietnam, I flew on a C-141, and it's so smooth. And it had McCord Air Force Base on the tail of it, of all things. I wish that I got the serial number of it because it's probably out here, but never did do that. Right up here on the right, on the left of us, we have the guillotine. It's laying just underneath the... Yeah, and more B-52s in the background that hasn't been chopped up. Out of the hundreds of B-52s they've scrapped, they say they have around 51 left to go, and then that'll be it.
Vietnam helikopters.
Notice the 707 setting right in the distance there, Boeing 7. Man. The lady asked me, do they ever buy airplanes out here for movies? You know, I do not know that. I have no idea whether they do or not. They're kind of funny letting them go out of here. I know on a tour last year, there's a gentleman here, he got out here. Okay, let me tell you the story, how he got out here. when we got off the A-Mark tour, he said, do you have time for a true short story? And I said, sure. All right, then let's get to this. He says, my cousin flew the Air Force Phantoms in Vietnam. I said, okay, fine, okay. And he was flying up around the Hanoi area. They were protecting our B-52 bombers when they were flying up there, bombing Haiphong Harbor and all that. Well, he looked way off to the right and he saw MiG-21 on his wingman's tail. Well, he said his cousin veered off, shot the MiG-21 down. He got the Silver Star for it. Probably saved his buddy's life. Okay, well, some years later, his cousin came out here. And some other people, they got permission to come into A-Mark. Of course, they had a lot of, thousands of F-4s out here then. He was trying to find choice. He got his airplane. Very nice. Before the bad accident in New York City, 911 accident. Yeah. No? Well, boy, I tell you, we have a lot to see. We have 3 World War II hangars. You have to see those. I love those airplanes. We have Hangar 3 that's right there by our event circle. Of course, in India back in the late 1960s. It took them a month to train a crew to bring it back, and it took them a month to get it back over here. But it's setting in there with an A-26, a B-25, and a C-47, and a lot of displays. You go out of there, so setting outside. And we have a tram tour. If you don't want to walk the 65 or 70.